Check one, one, two. All right. Hey everyone, I'm just coming to you live from one of the rooms in my new place. Not really set up here for live streaming. But yeah, I've just seen some shocking video that seemed to indicate that Charlie Kirk has been killed. You know, although he is a, Charlie Kirk and I disagree on a lot politically. It's horrific what has happened here. The war of ideas needs to happen on the debate stage. It needs to happen through the dialectic. And I think it's disgusting that he has been shot. Yeah, I saw the video, James, and it was quite shocking and disgusting. I do hope he pulls through. I was in I recently been having discussions with his representatives to set up a live discussion between him and Destiny, Stephen Bonnell. And yeah, it's just brutal. I'm going to send my condolences, obviously, their way, but it's yeah, it's quite shocking that, you know, someone who's in the political debate circuit would be the target of such violence. As someone who has produced for 10 years public debates and public discussions, I think it's important that these kinds of acts of violence do not get in the way of our fight to express ourselves freely. Whether you agree with people like Charlie Kirk or not, it is what I believe should be a fundamental right of human beings to be able to share what's on their mind, and obviously with some caveats with regards to harming others or harassing others. But when it comes to political discourse and debating political topics, there is no justification for this kind of violence. I think it's truly disgusting. And yeah, and it's true that Charlie Kirk has promoted some ideas that I find detestable and dangerous and disgusting. And I just felt it was necessary to come online onto Pangburn, which is our debate platform here and discussion platform, and disavow this kind of violence. It's absolutely disgusting. And I wanted to, because this is quite a brutal crime that's been committed, I wanted to offer everyone a platform here, at least through text, to share their thoughts on what happened. The video I saw, if it is truly the correct video, it seems as though Charlie Kirk was in the middle of talking about gang violence, and he was shot in the throat. And from what I saw, there's there's very little chance he's going to survive this. And that's my opinion based on what I saw. I'm actually kind of yeah, let's not direct people to the video. If people want to seek it out, they'll be able to find it on the internet. I highly suggest not watching it. It's morbid and disgusting. These are moments in human history where we do have to overcome those who think they have the right, you know, on one hand, they think they have the right to take another person's life. Then also, they think they have the right to silence voices through this kind of violence. And it's, I mean, you know, I had great visions of featuring Charlie Kirk on the Pangburn stage, interlocuting in the war of ideas in the Pangburnian way, because I do think he is saying a lot of he has a lot of ideas that are very potent and important to large swaths of people around the planet, and it's important to contend with those ideas in a good faith, helpful way. Obviously, shooting him in the throat is not contending with the ideas in a good faith, helpful way. And again, I couldn't disagree with someone like Charlie Kirk more politically, but I'm just shocked and disgusted by the violence I saw in this video that was sent to me. And there is no positive gloss on this. I'm already seeing some people in the comment section here trying to put some positive gloss on, well, maybe they'll think twice, and don't go there. That's just moral bankruptcy. You will find yourself morally bankrupt if you start trying to justify this or try to put a positive gloss on this. If you are a moral well-beingist like myself, this is a direct violation of this person's well-being because they are likely dead. We are currently promoting the anti-Trump tour right now. And so far, the debates on stage with Destiny, Stephen Bonnell have been good faith and helpful, all of them. And I have deeply appreciated the humanity on display on our debate tour. Trump supporters coming up against people who are anti-Trump, having good faith, helpful dialogue. That's what humanity needs to be about. If you have any feelings of being overwhelmed by the body politic and feel like you are thinking of maybe committing violence because of this, please understand that there is never any good that comes out of this. And I'm talking good by a moral well-being standpoint. You need to talk to someone about this. Start talking to many people about these violent tendencies you're having. Make it known. Be open about it and have conversations about it. That's the first step, to get it out there, to get it known that you're having these thoughts and feelings about harming others. You don't win the war of ideas this way. If you think that something has been won by Charlie Kirk being killed here, if in fact he is dead, if you think something has been won here, you don't understand what the war of ideas is. There will be an endless amount of people who hold ideas that you detest. And they're just going to keep coming with those ideas. The ideas are not going to die with the people. That's not how it works. Nazism did not die with Hitler. Hate for Jews, anti-Semitism did not die with Hitler. This is not the way you win the war of ideas. The way you win the war of ideas is in the Daryl Davis fashion, where he, as a black man, went into the KKK to have good faith, helpful conversations. And he won the war of ideas against many interlocutors, so much so that he has collected hundreds of KKK Grand Wizard robes in his way of fighting the war of ideas. So it's it is disgusting. I deeply disavow this kind of violence and murder, if in fact Charlie Kirk has died. I'm going to see if I can get any more updates here. Vampire says, no, bud, we are 50% civil and 50% primitive. It's human nature to snap. My life is cheap, 100K for first world countries. Where are you getting these 50% figures from? That's a very unlearned, uneducated, unstudied thing to say, whoever you are, vampire. Read a book. Let's see if I can get some more on this. It seems as though he's in critical condition. From last I've seen, there's been no announcement of his death. At our events, we always have ample security, but like we were just in Houston for the anti-Trump tour. Destiny debated, I think it was 9 debaters on stage. We had to turn away, I think it was 3 guns at the door. Now, this is an open carry state. But we still turned them away. Guns were not welcome at our event. And security measures should be in place for these political discussions, but I also understand that if you're doing things kind of out in open air at a university setting, like what seemed to be happening here, I know that those kinds of events can be really hard to secure. I mean, like, and I think it's important to not allow such events to deter us from giving people opportunities to debate and to share their ideas. And that's what we're all about here at Pangburn. And yeah, I'm heartbroken with seeing this. Charlie Kirk needed to have his time on the debate stage and you know the chance to defeat him on the debate stage. That's what this should all be about. This shooting him and from what I've seen, probably killing him, it literally does nothing. It looks like they have the suspect in custody. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy out there if you're getting a lot of background sound. Yeah, I based on what I saw as well, it does not look good. Fucking phone's blowing up here. Yeah, like I said, I was just in talks with uh, Charlie Kirk's people. We're setting up the Pangburn debut for him to come on stage and do some debates. Yeah, it's quite shocking. I'll be very disappointed if my friends on the left use this as a fuck around and find out moment. Elijah says when conservatives are the victims of their own political ideologies, uh, guns are out of control. Politics aside, I hope he recovers. This is not right. Um, I doubt conservatives are going to say guns are out of control because of this. I don't know why you're saying that. Who do you think is saying that, Elijah? Um, and he wasn't a victim of his own political ideology. He was a victim of a murderer. That's what happened. If he, in fact, dies, he was a victim of a murderer. He wasn't a victim of his political ideologies. That's like saying, oh, the man who murdered his wife, the wife was a victim of her lack of ability to not overcook the roast. Nice try. Yikes. Yeah, it's just really, really disappointing to see. Yeah, the video looked absolutely horrific. It looked like any other horrible video of murder on camera I've ever seen. Just devastating. I really do hope he pulls through. Davin says this will be forgotten by Friday. No. I'm not going to tell people where to find the video of the shooting. I would assume that the video is being taken down if people are posting it. Ugh.
I wasn't immediately worried. I didn't feel like, roaming war früher immer mein.
I think I'm able to share a screen right now just from my regular window. Apparently there's some audio of some bystanders. Let's see if I can share this window. Democratic governors condemned, of course. Gavin Newsom called the shooting of Charlie Kirk disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. Yeah, of course. Two people described the moment Charlie Kirk was shot. It felt like so much blood came out of his neck immediately. Emma Pitts and Eva Terry, reporters for Desert News, described the scene of Charlie Kirk's shooting today. Just minutes into Kirk talking, Pitts said they heard a gunshot. When you see Charlie go limp, she told CNN, his neck kind of turned and we saw blood immediately. It felt like so much blood came out, yeah. The video from the event appears to show Kirk shot in the neck area, then recoil in his seat. Terry described the atmosphere of the event. The shooting was really happy and excited. Students present were excited to be around other conservatives, she added. What Kirk was talking about, a kid came up and asked a question about how many transgender shooters there were, and Charlie gave him another comment. And then he asked one more question. And so the question was about shooters. And before Charlie Kirk could pick up the mic again, that's when the shot happened. Trump's calling for prayers for Charlie Kirk. Yeah, but I think Charlie Kirk's been killed. Check. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I'm on these fucking Beats headphones. I don't have my regular setup right now. I'm in a different house. Well, I mean, this just happened, Lunar. So it's going to take time to get updates on what's going on. Yeah, apparently he was shot from a campus building 200 meters away. Yeah, Volta, I think that Charlie Kirk has been killed. That's what I think happened. I hope that's not the case. So I'll have to look back on Discord, but I said about around the time that Trump got reelected that my prediction was that these assassinations and assassination attempts were going to become more rampant and frequent. And I just think that there are a lot of people, and I speak to some of them on Discord, who seem to have lost hope in democracy because their ideal candidate or their side isn't winning, or there are things being said that they find detestable and that are being enacted that they find detestable, and they think that violence is the only answer or is the key to winning some kind of battle. But like we were talking about earlier, killing does nothing to win the war of ideas. Winning a war, like winning World War II, doesn't destroy Nazism or anti-Semitism. That's not how you win that war. You have to contend with the ideas. You have to contend with them in a way that bears fruit. And if you feel like you're not getting anywhere in that pursuit, maybe it's because you're engaging in a bad faith way, or maybe you're engaging in an unhelpful way. Maybe you're an extremist and you're never going to convince anyone of anything. Yeah. So some people are going to start saying, you know, who was the shooter? Were they black? Were they trans? You know, so many people are going to be focused on this and try to make it about that, as opposed to putting that responsibility on this individual who made this choice. That's just the lowest resolution political discourse that will happen around this, what seems to be assassination. So here's one. So Matt Dillahunty, all of you are familiar with Matt Dillahunty, just put out on his Facebook, zero sympathy. And he has 308 likes and hearts on this comment. Let's see some of the comments here. Yeah, here we go. I agree. Fuck around and find out. No sympathetic either. I'm just afraid of the fallout. Killing Nazis is an American tradition. Well, I think that's disgusting. How can you claim to be a moral well-beingist and have zero sympathy? How can you claim to be a humanist and have zero sympathy? Yeah, we're going to see a lot of these horrible, immoral takes. When stuff like this happens, you know, I notice that some people's moral bankruptcy just is there for us to see. So it'll be really interesting to see how many morally bankrupt opinions or exposés we get from this tragedy. If you guys aren't part of our Discord server yet, we'll probably be talking about this quite a bit. There's a link to our Discord server if you want to join. The shooter's in custody. Let's see if we know anything new about the shooter here. I'm going to pay attention to CNN's live updates here. Charlie Kirk traveled with private security, and university and local police were also assisting, Aide says. Charlie Kirk's appearance at Utah Valley University on Wednesday was the first stop of Turning Point USA's 14-city American comeback tour. Kirk traveled with a private security contingent, a Turning Point USA aide traveling on the tour tells CNN whether he was speaking to large rallies like the one today or in Utah or at smaller events. The aide said university police and local authorities were also providing security at the rally that drew a crowd of thousands to the courtyard at Utah Valley University, located about 40 miles south of Salt Lake City. The American Comeback Tour had Kirk's signature "Prove Me Wrong" table, where Kirk would urge those who disagreed with him to debate an issue. His tour was scheduled to make stops in Colorado, Minnesota, Virginia, Montana, and other states. So he had private security and university and local police. But yeah, when you're out there in the open air environment, it's not like you're securing the entire perimeter. So elderly man with white hair is the suspect at this time. Thanks, CJ, for the updates. CJ Buckyballs from our Discord server is giving me updates right now. There's a quote here in this article from NBC News. I kind of turned around and all of a sudden I saw officers walking with this very elderly gentleman with white hair. Hickens said they had him arrested. They had him on his knees and he was screaming about his rights and all that stuff. They cuffed him and put him away. There was no metal detectors to get into the event, Hickens said, though there was security by Kirk himself. Yeah, but I mean, this was from 200 yards away, right? Man. It hasn't been confirmed if he died or not, but I'm saying I think he is dead based on what I saw. Okay, 200 meters, shot from 200 meters. I'm seeing a different angle of the shooting on Facebook. They haven't taken it down. There's chaos after the shot happened. Yeah, so different angles of the shooting popping up. Man, I haven't even opened X yet. Let's see. Some takes on X. Godsod says, I can always keep my cool, but I'm now filled with a sense of retribution and violence. What just happened to Charlie Kirk should awaken every single decent human being who cares about American freedom. This is an attack on everyone. Sending you all love. So 16 hours ago, Charlie Kirk posted a photo of the Ukrainian gal that was just murdered on the bus, saying America will never be the same. Hassan says Charlie Kirk was shot in an event he was conducting at UVU campus in Utah. And Andrew Tate is tweeting about trying to stop letting women vote. God, that guy's a turd. We don't know yet if Charlie Kirk is still alive, but it's not looking good. And I personally think he's probably dead based on what I've seen. Yeah, it's very sad to see him with his kids and his wife. It's, man. Okay, there is video of this bald-headed with white hair, kind of like a skullet individual circulating on X. So it does look like it was an old man who shot him. If you guys are stopping by, feel free to drop a like on the stream. Just getting started here. Wow. So some reporter on MSNBC says you can't stop with these awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words. Can this guy even speak? Saying these awful words and then not expect awful actions to take place. Yes, you should be able to expect that you don't get murdered for your political opinions, you dumb shit. We've never had a single violent episode at a Pangburn event, and we've produced some pretty intense discussions and topics. We've had some demonstrations and protests and things like that. People calling in to try and get the event shut down, but we've never had a single violent act at our events. I'm sure that's true about Turning Point and other groups involved here. Yeah, seeing that other angle that's circulating on Facebook right now of the shooting is just horrible. See, everyone's going to say like, why wasn't there security at these events? They had security. They had ample security for an event like this. You can't secure every building and every fucking possible shooting angle for events like this. It's just you can't spend 150 grand on security When you go to like speak to some university students on campus for every event, there would never be any opportunities to debate and speak with people like this. Uh, that that's not the problem here. I mean, it's tough. Like when something like this happens, you want to say that someone made a mistake or something went wrong. But what we know here is that someone just wanted to murder another person, and they likely did. And with so many celebrities, so many people I've worked with, like Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris. Like Sam Harris usually travels with a personal bodyguard, but they're not. How's Sam going to be protected with his personal bodyguard and the general venue protections and hotel protections that are afforded? Everyone's vulnerable to this kind of assassination attempt or assassination. So I don't think the problem is security here. The problem is that people are willing to seemingly commit violence for political reasons. Now, I should also say we don't know the motivations yet of this person. Of course, we're probably going to know more and find out. Yeah, who knows? I remember people thinking when I looked into and studied the assassination of John Lennon, people automatically thought that the killer, was like this pro-war fanatic or something, and this is what people just assumed. It made sense, but he just turned out to be someone who wanted to fucking be famous and be known for killing John Lennon. So, and apparently this was the shot came from about 200 meters. Like, how are you like? I know this from like organizing events like this. It's just you can't afford a perfect security detail. They have a hard enough time doing that for leaders of countries. It's yeah, there are 2 videos circulating right now. I'm not going to tell people where to watch them, but there are 2 different angles that I've seen of the shooting, and there is video currently of this of who's being said to be the Utah shooter. Man. Yeah, I'm seeing a top view of where this event was taking place on campus, and you can't secure that fucking area. You couldn't secure that area of any potential shooting angles or anything like that. For it would $250,000 wouldn't do it. So I am hearing that it has been confirmed. I'm going to double check here. Man. Yeah, now I'm hearing that the suspect still, or a new suspect might be at large. We're going to keep following this this story. We are scheduled to be in New York on Saturday for a debate, a vaccine debate, actually, between Professor Dave Explains, Dave Farina, Debunk the Funk, Dan Wilson, and Steve Kirsch and Pierre Corey. So that's next on our schedule, and then we have the West Coast leg of the anti-Trump tour featuring Destiny. There's no plans to postpone at this time. I highly suggest don't engage in any kind of conspiratorial line drawing of like, oh, this must have been a paid hit by the Dems or anything like that. You know, the mind, when something big tragedy like this happens, the mind's going to race and come up with all kinds of things. It becomes more prone to conspiratorial thinking. Especially when something like this hits close to you. So I just caution people to wait for the information, wait for the evidence to come out. I don't have my my new studio set up yet. I'm in just some random room in my new place. So sorry about the shitty audio. I've seen some unverified reports that Charlie Kirk is deceased, but this has not been verified yet. Not been verified. So there's going to be a lot of this. Tariq Nasheed says Charlie Kirk goes around to campuses talking about how violent black people are. His social media timeline goes on and on about how violent black people are. And in the middle of his speech discussing black gang violence, Charlie gets shot by a white man. So there's going to be a lot of tongue-in-cheek, a lot of jokes. If you are hypersensitive to this kind of joking when tragedies strike, I suggest not going on social media. There's going to be a lot of this stuff that'll probably enrage you. I don't tend to make, I wouldn't make public jokes about tragedies like this. People have different senses of humor and different ways of dealing with stuff like this. I wouldn't. I don't think other people should not be allowed to. It's not my style of humor. Usually, just like this strong feeling of empathy and sympathy within me just doesn't really find anything connected to it funny. And I don't know exactly when that ends, when like close friends of I might make a joke about something, about some tragedy, but I think it's different for any kind of, uh, depending on what the tragedy is. But because this is, Charlie Kirk, who's in the debate section, and we at Pangburn and I, for the past 10 years have been in this debate live discussion section. It really does hit home when something like this happens in a stage that could have very well been the Pangburn stage. And I just feel awful that something like this would happen when people are engaged in the war of ideas. I think it's a deep, deep tragedy. And this is coming from me, who disagrees with Charlie Kirk on most things politically. But I think this needs to be sorted out on the intellectual battlefield in the war of ideas. Shooting him does nothing to destroy the bad ideas that you might detest. So there's still critical condition is still being reported. It can take some time. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm seeing mixed signals and reports of whether or not they have the shooter in custody, or whether the shooter's still at large. Is that real? That's another thing right now. We also have to be, remember skepticism, and not just believe anything that pops up on social media. Some people are saying this news outlet said this, these people said this, and then there's no information or links or anything. And then they're also, everyone's making this about the left versus right now. This always happens. They need to really focus on, well, there's another angle of the shot. People really need to focus on the individual who committed this crime. And you might hear my baby in the background. I do apologize for that. Hmm. Yeah, it's weird. I'm hearing suspect in custody, and there's some people saying no suspect in custody. Very strange. All right. There are some sources dropping a name. It's not just the one you sent me, CJ. Um, there are a few sources dropping the name Michael Mallinson, a registered Democrat from Utah, has been identified as the shooter. Michael Mallinson. Have a look online. This could change, folks, the more we yeah, CJ, it's on many different sites, and just this is what's being reported. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now, folks. Take it all with a grain of salt. Anything I say, anything anyone else says.
Make sure that these attacks are condemned, that there is no justification. There is nothing that could excuse this. And again, we don't want to be partisan here. We want to be absolutely crystal clear that we are rejecting violence where it is at. Rhetoric, ideas should be met with rhetoric and ideas. And again, not being shot for what you think, what your beliefs are, the ideas that you espouse for a direction of America, of society. And unfortunately, this is what appears we're looking at right now with Charlie Kirk in Utah.
And Matthew, it isn't, I wasn't for a moment suggesting that it was only President Trump who engages in that rhetoric. We have heard similar things. It was a big debate last year in the height of the campaign about things that President Joe Biden was saying at the time. I mean, Joy, this sort of language does come from all sides.
It does, although I would say, I hate to be partisan here, but I do think Donald Trump is a little more violent in his language. He simply is. He takes great pride in it. And so, you know, and trying to create a show of some of his violence. We often say the cruelty in his case often is the point. And so that is what I think that you're referring to here. I don't think that, unfortunately, it's just not the moment. We're in this, really tense place. So I don't want to go into all of the things that could have brought us here, because I also don't know the motivations of the shooter.
Exactly. Yeah,
I don't want to go down that
know.
rabbit hole.
No, we don't know the motivation of the individual allegedly at the center of this, who's in custody at the moment. But let's just recap what we do know at this point. We can have a look here. This is a picture of Charlie Kirk as he was speaking at the campus event at Utah Valley University in Orem this afternoon. That was the moment before the shooting. You can see Charlie Kirk there in a white t-shirt sitting under that grey tent there. We've paused that video because that is the moment that the shot was fired. We heard from some eyewitnesses a little earlier in the program that they heard one shot being fired, saw him being struck in the throat or neck area, and then he fell over. They described at that point everyone running from the scene. They themselves were in fear for their life. We're told from the university that he was removed from the scene by his security team and brought to hospital. Our partners here in the US, CBS News, reporting that Charlie Kirk remains in a critical condition. He has undergone surgery, and we are waiting for a further update on his condition. Campus police say they are investigating that. They've been joined now by many other agencies. Again, as we heard, a heavy law enforcement presence on the scene at this point. The FBI is assisting as well as the various police forces in the area. There has been reaction from all quarters across the country to this today. President Trump himself, he said we must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot, a great guy from top to bottom. God bless him. Charlie Kirk, of course, a close friend of Donald Trump, a long time together on the campaign trail and remain in close contact. Charlie Kirk, a very influential individual in the MAGA world. He hosts a podcast that has about 7 million or so subscribers. He built a huge movement from campuses in this country, and that's where he was today when he was shot. You can see him there. That's from the scene earlier, that image of him in his white t-shirt sitting amongst all of the students there, addressing the crowd, engaging in debate. We're told he was on his second question from those gathered there at the time of this shooting. I want to bring in my colleague Mike Wendling, who is in London here and who has been a close follower of Charlie Kirk and of the influencer movement within MAGA world. Mike, what have those individuals, Charlie Kirk's friends and colleagues, been saying this evening?
Well, it's been shock and dismay at the events recently. There's been the usual social media reaction, and unfortunately, as your panel of guests, appear to be violence, we have seen time and again when this breaks out in the United States, as it has so frequently over the past couple of years, that truce, that call for peace, does not last very long. Activists and hardcore believers on both sides try to alternatively blame the other side for most of the violence and deflect any blame from their own side. And unfortunately, if history is our guide, the pattern will keep on going after this pretty shocking incident.
We're just hearing as well that Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica, and their 2 children were present at his speech at the university. That coming to us from Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen posting that on Twitter. Mark Wayne, a good friend of Charlie Kirk and indeed of the president as well. But Mike, there have been many threats made against Charlie Kirk and indeed against many of the individuals in the MAGA movement, notwithstanding, as we were discussing earlier, the 2 assassination attempts on the president himself.
Yeah, absolutely. It appears to be routine for these kinds of threats to be made against political figures, politicians. there's
Yeah,
few
this is
politicians, even
routine
on a local
for
level.
threats to
I
be
was
made.
in
It's
Minnesota
very
when
normal.
the day after the two lawmakers there, from the Democratic Party, were shot. It's something that afflicts politicians and activists of both parties, and is perhaps part and parcel of our online lives, and the fact that it's easy to send messages anonymously. If you talk to politicians, as we do, of course, you hear these stories all the time of the threats that they face on a daily basis almost.
And what is it about Charlie Kirk that has made him such, so beloved within the conservative movement, within the Republican Party?
Kirk really, he sort of is an embodiment of an all-American guy. He has a beautiful family. He is forthright in his values. He really speaks to that younger generation of conservatives. And, his willingness to sort of take the debate to the other side has also won him fans. And of course, a lot of critics.
So they are still reporting critical condition, but I'm seeing some reports that it's critical condition, but not looking good, is what I'm reading here.
As well, not just on the left wing and the Democratic Party, but the far right is also. He had a very public battle with a lot of people further to the right, even neo-Nazis who tried to sabotage some of his campus tours. So he's never really shied away from conflicts like this, but has always kept it to the level of discourse and debate, and certainly not something like we've seen today.
And Mike, he's very close, isn't he, to the Trump sons, in particular, Donald Jr. and Eric Trump. They regularly all appear together at various rallies and summits organized by Turning Point USA.
Yeah, his position in Turning Point has given him contacts at the very top of MAGA. He's a very, very well-connected person. He knows, virtually everyone in that Trump family and the wider MAGA movement. There will be a lot, and we have seen already a lot of outpouring of sympathy, thoughts, and prayers for Charlie Kirk and his family already.
Indeed, he's written a book, The MAGA Doctrine. Again, just to your point of how he built this movement on campuses, but then found his way in the company of the president.
Yeah, and from the campus movement, it is really quite a lot more broad. When I went to the Turning Point conference held in Phoenix last December, there was a huge mix. There were students.
I'm going to keep watching. If you want to come and join us in our Discord server, there we go. Here's a link to our Discord server. And I'm sure people are going to be talking about this all day there. So thank you for joining me. I do completely condemn this violent attempted murder. I still think it's very likely that he will pull through this. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We are going to be in New York City on Saturday for the Professor Dave Explains Professor Dave Explains and Debunk the Funk. Dr. Wilson will be going head to head with two big figures in the anti-vax community, Steve Kirsch and Pierre Corey. They're going to be having a vaccine debate. We'll be in New York for that on Saturday in our venue, Bronxlandia, and yeah, it's gonna be a great time. Yeah, let's keep on keeping on, and yeah, hope it's a better day tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.